you so much for taking the time to join us today. And thank you to all the media on the call. We will go ahead and get started. And we will start with Brian Sandalo from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Cool. Thank you very much, E, and thank you very much, Ezra, for making some time today. Yeah, thank you. Hope all is well with you. And just wondering first, what's the status of Federico Navarro, Chris Mueller, and Jairo Torres, and what's their current timeline for return?
Chris will be back this weekend. Unfortunately, we will be without Jairo and Fedi this weekend. As far as their timeline, not sure yet, but it's going to be at least a couple of weeks.
What exactly was the issue with both Fedi and Jairo?
Hamstring.
Okay. All right. So then just, those are soft tissue injuries in week one. Is that a concern to you that guys are already suffering those injuries this early into the season?
Yeah, but, it's injuries, they happen. Unfortunately, it's part of the game. We just have to deal with it. The key is return to play. How short that time is very important. So we just have to be able to deal with those injuries, and I think we have to correct the right high performance department to make sure that these guys get back in a timely fashion and not be out for too long.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Alex Calabrese from Men in Red 97.
Hey, Ezra. Hope you're doing well today. Good afternoon. My question for you is looking at the midfield, both starters from week one out for the next game. Gaston Jimenez, not 100% fit. Would you have any hesitation to put in a younger player like Sergio Odahel, who hasn't played a lot, or would you lean on experience for a road game like this?
Well, we've maintained that it's going to be a competitive situation at all positions this year. So we have, a short time, 2-3 days to determine who's going to step in and play. And it's just going to be based on how guys have been training and how they do the next couple of days. We're going to have to tweak some things, but, it's the difference between this team and the team last year is that we have a lot of different options that we can do. Last year, we were lacking that at times. Once we took injuries, it was very difficult to shift in any way, shape, or form. But I think we have enough depth now. Some guys who have gotten some experience over the past year that can step in and play. As far as who that's going to be, that's still yet to be determined.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Joe Chats from On Tap Sportsnet.
Hi, Ezra. Thanks, E. Hope everyone's well. Given that Philadelphia played out of the country last night, has that changed anything in the approach to the weekend, knowing that they're going to be on a short week and you guys get the full week to review going into another week after the extra week we'd had going into week one?
Not at all. If you look at the game last night, they rested a lot of people. I think they only started 3 starters from who started the weekend before in Miami. So they can be relatively fresh. Yes, they had some traveling to do, but they're at home. They've done really well at home the past few years. So we expect nothing less than what, they've been about these past few years on the gym. So we're not going to go in there, taking them lightly, assuming that they're fatigued by any means. We're going to go out there with our strongest squad and try to bring home some points. Hopefully all 3.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Hernan Espinosa from La Fiera Deportiva.
Good afternoon, Ezra. Thank you for taking time for us. Yes, my question is about the atmosphere in the home opening. Were you expecting this kind of people to show up? And what can you say about the next game also with Philadelphia Union, that a team that you already probably encountered last year, and you know how they play and how they attack too? Thank you.
Yes, Philly, they're a very good team. I mean, a lot of the experts are picking them to be MLS Cup champions this year, if not, up there. So it's not a team to be taken lightly. Like I said, they've been very good at home over the past few years. So it's going to be a big task for us, but we are prepared and we're going to be ready. we're a little deflated, having lost Fedi and Jairo, but like I said, I think we have the depth to fill in at those positions. As far as last weekend and our fans, we expect that from our fans. We have really, really good fans. Sometimes we've let them down, but having them there on Saturday and listen to the crowd, even though it wasn't 30,000 people, it felt like it because the crowd was so loud. It was really into it. The game was back and forth, end to end. So I'm sure that got the fans energized also, and we the players they feed off that. So it's always good to play at home because our fans are always there to support us. So that was great to see.
Thank you. Next, we'll go back to Brian.
Sure. Thanks, E. Yeah, that sequence in the 23rd minute where Shabilko picked up the ball and I ended up shooting wide. You can see that Mueller on the left is running hard to support him. Gutierrez running hard on the right to support him, but Shaqiri was walking. What was your reaction to seeing Shaqiri walking and not supporting on that play?
Well, I think it's not walking while we're defending. It's a difference between what transpired then. Casper is going to goal. I imagine Shaq thinks he's going in on goal, and he's got two guys supporting him already. Maybe he thought this, he was going to go to goal and put it in the back of the net. I can't really speak for Shaq on that. Had that been a situation where we had lost the ball and they were counterattacking us and he was walking, I can see people having gripes about that. But, I think everyone kind of relaxed, maybe except for Chris and Guti, thinking, okay, here's our first goal of the season. Here's the first goal of the match. So I didn't read much into that as some people are doing.
Sorry, Brian, did you have another question? I just muted because there was some extra noise.
Yes, actually. Would you like to see Shaqiri running on that play and to provide a little bit of extra support?
Well, yeah, definitely. But, Casper is, 10, 15 yards ahead of him. I don't know how much of support he could provide there. And also, we don't want Casper to be looking backwards. They want him to go to the goal. And, our wingers, in this instance, Guti and Chris, following up. So I'm not going to really dwell too much on that. I think if you look at the physical loading from our GPS and stuff, you'll see that Shaq put in a good effort on Saturday night. So I can't just take one isolated incident and really be mad about that. That was just one isolated incident. If you look at the rest of the game, you'll see he did a lot of tracking back. He did a lot of pressing, and he was up for it on Saturday night. So, that's not something I want to really dwell on or read into at all.
Thank you. We'll go next with Alex Calabrese.
Thank you again, E. Ezra, after the last game in the post-match press conference, you said that Chris Brady was ahead of the competition as far as being the starter. Obviously, he wasn't able to play due to that thigh tweak. Would you say that he's still the favorite given that he's back in training to start this weekend, or is that a decision that's yet to be made?
Chris will be in a goal this weekend, barring any setbacks these next couple of days. Chris will be in a goal. I don't want to give away too many secrets to Philly, but I do want to answer your questions that you guys have as honestly as I can answer it. So yes, we expect Chris to be in the goal this weekend.
Thank you. We'll go two more questions. Hernan Espinosa and then Brian Sandalo. Hernan?
Yes, Ezra, for the couple of months, I heard for the Chicago Fire looking for a forward position. And, there were some rumors that you were close to sign some good players, and it didn't come through. Is the club waiting, still scouting? They're waiting for the summer to get a big name, the forward position, or they're taking the time and considering a few options? Thank you.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process for us. We had a couple guys that were really, really close, almost over the line, but it fell through, which happens in this business. But we're trying to still add, we have I'm gonna mess his name up again, but Yorgos coming in hopefully within the next week to 10 days here. But we're still trying to add someone else. But that's someone that we want to add before the summer break. Actually, the MLS window is still open for a little bit longer, so we still have some time to add someone, and that's ongoing stuff. We're still working on trying to make the team better and get more competition in here at several different positions.
Thank you. Brian, last question.
Sure. I was just going to call him George, but I get Yorgos.
Yeah, George is fine.
Yeah.
That way.
That could be good too. A couple of weeks ago, we asked you about the playoff format and what you wanted to see from it and everything. But now that it's out, it was announced a little bit while ago. What do you think of the new format with 9 teams and the play-in and then the best of 3, I guess, in the first round?
Well, I think, it's a game that's growing, and the fans want to see a lot of games. And I think this gives them opportunity to see a couple more games. It also gives a team, a lot of times when you take just 7 teams, you have a team maybe miss the playoff by 1 point or 2 points. I think it gives room for a couple more teams to play themselves into the playoffs. So I don't mind it at all. With the Open Cup and a champion and League Cup and all that stuff, could add some games, could get leggy for some players. But I think from the fan standpoint, they're going to love it. I think it's going to be really great to see, maybe a 9th place team play a 7th place team, or how it's working to get into the playoffs. And then once they get there, a 3-game series with, let's say, the number 1 seed. Which could be very exciting, because I think when you just have just 1 game, it doesn't give the bottom team a chance, because in MLS, I'm not sure about the actual stats, but I'm sure most teams win their home games than they lose. So I think this way it gives both teams an opportunity to get a win. And then if it comes to a 3rd game, then it could be decided on the higher seeds home field. But it's for the fans. I think that's why the MLS is doing it. The fans want to see more soccer, and it gives them opportunity to see more soccer.
Great. Thank you so much, Coach. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Ezra.
Much for taking the time to speak with all of us today. We really appreciate it. We'll go ahead and get started. We will start with Brian Sandalo from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Sure. Thanks, E. And thanks, Fabi, for making some time for us this afternoon. We always appreciate talking to you. And just wondering, we just were told that Jairo and Fedi are out for a little bit of time now. So I know you guys had a bit of a preview of playing without both of them last week, but now how does that change things moving forward, knowing that you'll be without both of them for at least this week and potentially more?
Yeah, to be fair, I thought that it might be maybe a couple of weeks for them based on, how they went down. Usually if it's a muscular injury, you always have to be careful. They cannot really start too soon. But again, I think, yeah, we have to adjust, obviously, as a team going forward. We still have a lot of depth that we've showed in the past game as well. We had guys that come in and play the position to the best of their abilities as well. So and we got to go back with the new players in. So I think we adjusted well, and we have to keep compensating those losses as a team in order to move forward and try to get results.
Thank you. Next up, we have Alex Calabrese from Men in Red 97.
Thank you. Hey, Fabi. Hope you're doing well today. So this weekend, you're going to get to go back to Philadelphia as a former Union player. Obviously, you've been back there a couple times since you came to the Fire. But just tell us a little bit about what you're expecting from the opposition this weekend. Looking forward to them.
Yeah, since I left, it's now, I think, almost a little bit more than 4 years ago. But yeah, I always look forward to seeing old friends to go back. Obviously, they have evolved a lot under Jim Curtin. When I was there, they didn't play that high pressing 4-4-2 in a diamond in the midfield yet. But now they're really good at that. They're really used to that system, and they kind of perfected it last season, I think, as well, where they actually deserve to win the MLS Cup. Obviously, they press high. They're a very physical team, very direct with the ball. They go up, find their forwards quick, and then try to get the second ball, and then find the runners in behind real quick. So I think we have to be aware of that because those are weapons that they have. But I do think that they're also beatable. We've shown it last year. Miami showed it now, when they just won 2-0 against the Philly. So I think they're still trying to find the groove as well. And I think no team in MLS is really unbeatable, so you can still go there and get a result.
Thank you. Next, we have Joe Chats from On Tap Sportsnet.
Hi, Fabi. Thanks, E. Fabi, your goal on Saturday came really from creating a chance in contested spaces, and it was really the only shot on goal for the team in the evening. How can you ensure that while you're creating chances for yourself, you're also going to be creating chances for the team and creating more goal-scoring chances throughout the match, especially as you're probably going to see a bigger role?
Yeah, I mean, just because you didn't hit the target as much doesn't mean you didn't have quality chances. I remember that offside goal that was really close. I think a couple blocked shots where Shaqiri had one later in the game after the cross. I think if those kind of things don't get blocked, they're on target. So we count it statistically as a shot on target. But I do agree that we can still create more. I think the flow of the game was still a little bit too slow, especially in the first half against NYCFC. But I think if we move the ball a little bit quicker from side to side, it was the first game for us. So it was still, all the other teams already had a game played in MLS. So, it was still a little bit rusty in the first half, but then I think in the second half we got a little bit more of a groove, of a flow to the game, and then we moved the ball a little bit quicker. And if we can continue to do that, moving the ball from side to side, find spaces in between, find our best players on the ball, like Shaqiri, that can turn forward and then find the runners off the ball. I think then we can be more successful going forward and have more shots on target, if you will.
Thank you. Next, we have Hernan Espinosa from La Fiera Deportiva.
Hey, Fabi, how are you?
Good. You?
Good. Thank you. My question is about the people that show up, 20,000, almost 20,000 people cheering that goal that you score. What do you think about it? They come out even in the rainy situations, and what do you say to the fans, after the tie 1-1?
Yeah, of course. I was sitting on the bench and I was talking to Kai Kamara. I think that I was surprised that many people actually showed up, because honestly, it's really tough to to come out to these games in March, April weather where it's super cold, especially if you have family and kids. It's not really a fun environment to be in, because it's it's just super cold, and if you're just standing there or sitting there, it's even colder than if you were running on the pitch. So yeah, huge credit to the fans that came out, supported us. I think you could really feel the energy, especially in the second half. I felt it with a goal. I think it's probably the best crowd that I've had. Scoring a goal in front of the home fans. So I'm really grateful for the atmosphere, for the people that came out and really support us and pushing us to the last second. And almost we came away with a win. But hopefully, we can do that in the future and celebrate many more together.
Thank you. And next, Brian Sandalo.
Sure. Thanks, E. Fabi, since you've been here, and especially under Rafa, Wiki, and now Ezra, you've carved out a really nice role as like a super utility guy. You can play on the wings. You've played centrally. You can play deeper. How have you done that? And how do you feel about the role that you have, I guess, carved out with the Fire the last few seasons?
Right. I think a strength of mine was always that I'm a very flexible guy. I'm versatile in my positioning. I started out actually in Philadelphia as a number 9. That's where they drafted me. And I think coming to Chicago under Paunovic, I was still sort of the 9, and then made my transition. They used me as a 6, as a 7. I think I have overall a good understanding for the game and know what each position kind of requires, and then I try to do it to the best of my abilities, and try to help the team, obviously, give everything, put everything out on the pitch. Obviously, I would love to have that one position and play 34 games there, 90 minutes. But at the same time, it is what the situation requires and what the team requires. And if I'm that super guy that always comes into that position and to help out the team, I'm happy to do so. So I'm grateful for every minute that I get to play on the pitch, and I want to give back also, because the coaches trust me, and I want to give back with my performance. So
yeah, I'm just wondering, how hard is it to have to play effectively, possibly 5 actually, if you count both wings, so what kind of preparation does that take for you, both mentally and physically?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, each position requires a little bit of a different skill set. If you're out on the wing, you have more high-speed runs. You have more of high acceleration loads where you try to press. You go running behind. Whereas as a number 6 or 8, you more have this steady pace where you're kind of jogging and trying to look more around left and right, because it's more 360 the game. When you're out on the wing, you have the whole field in front of you. But when you're in the middle, you have to know who's behind you, who's in the back of you, and who's on the side, and where the pressure is coming from. So, it requires, to zone in mentally, obviously, to be prepared, visualize what the position you're going to play in requires, and then the physical load I kind of explained in the beginning. Just be ready for that. And if you're out on the wing, that that you have to sprint a little bit more, or when you're on the 6 or the 8 or inside, that you have a little bit more steady pace, but you have to make more runs up and down, box to box. So kind of preparing that for that, visualize and be mentally ready for it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next, we'll go last question to Joe Chats on Tap Sports.
Thanks, Fabi. Thanks, E. Fabi, I'm curious, you're talking about giving back and understanding all these roles that you have within the team. Do the younger players around you seem to come to you seeing that you have that experience, moving from position, starting as a 9, then coming to Chicago and really evolving your game as you were going up and down between Bethlehem and Philadelphia, and now in Chicago, really solidifying yourself in the MLS roster? Do the young guys on the team seem to understand that, and are they coming to you during practice about that?
Not necessarily coming up to me, but sometimes it happens organically. Obviously, you see sometimes the young guys that have to play with a second team, they're not happy about it. Not that obviously they would prefer to play with the first team. I don't want to say they're not happy about it. Obviously, they want to give everything for the second team as well. But if you were to choose, you would rather play for the first team than the second team. So, just try to, sometimes it happens organically, saying that, hey, keep at it, and keep keep doing well in these games with the second team, and they will give you a chance, because if you that's how it happened for me sometimes when I played with the Bethlehem Steel and back in my Philadelphia days, when I would score or have good performances. Jim Curtin was a really good coach in rewarding that and appreciating the effort that you put in. So I think if we can build a similar kind of performance environment here, where guys get rewarded for good performances on the second team, and to see it as an opportunity rather than a punishment to go down to the second team, then it can really work. So I have the experience in that, and then sometimes I tell the guys, hey, that's how my situation was, and look how far I've come. So don't be so caught up in that situation, rather to zoom out and see the bigger part of your career, and you have so many years ahead. So use it as an opportunity.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Fabi, for taking the time to speak with us today. Really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who joined the call.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fabi.
Thank you.